What's up, guys? Straightforward TV. Talking real estate today with my boy Sid Rodriguez. Anything you want to know about real estate, whether you're buying, selling, investing, if you have good credit, bad credit, equity, all these questions you might have in your head, this one's for you. So we're gonna get started. I'm just waiting for him to join. Don't know where he is right now. Good morning to you too. Okay, here we go. Let's see. You're sideways. What's up, Sid?
Hey, what's up, bro? How are you? Good morning.
Not bad, not bad. Good morning to you
Quick
too.
adjustments.
Yeah.
How you doing?
First, I'm good, man. I'm good. We're finally doing this.
We did it. We did it.
Long
And I
overdue.
want to say thank you again, man. Thank you, bro, because this is my first one. You put this, you believe in me to do this, and I'm glad, we're from the same hood. You're
Yes.
overseas, which is crazy, but I'm glad we got this together. And
That's right.
Thank you. Thank God, and thank you, bro. Thank you.
And I appreciate it, man. Thank you. But first of all, introduce yourself.
All right, so my name is SIDNEY Rodriguez. I'm with Keller Williams in Long Island, New York. Been doing real estate for about 15 years. I started off in Florida. Now in New York. I also became a realtor in Colombia about 2 years ago. So now I'm with Keller Williams now because it's a national and international company. And I do it because I like helping people achieve their dream, whether it be buying their first house or, a small business, buying a building for that business, anything to progress. I have fun doing it. It's like the game of Monopoly in real life, and you're helping people along the way. So
Right.
Say.
How long you been doing it? When did you get started?
So I got started in 2002. 2001, I had the idea. My son was born in 2000, and I have two boys, one 20, one 17. And, I started thinking, what do I like to do? And back then, I was moving around a lot. I'm from Long Island, but I moved to Palm Beach County in Florida. And moving around, I started, finding different places where to live, where to go to. And people would start asking me, hey, where can I find this? Where can I find that? Right. And I started to know that, and I said, you know what, this is a cool business. I like looking at properties. I like seeing what's out there. And then I just started referring, putting people together, houses with people. And that's how it all kind of came along. I'm not going to lie, in the beginning, I was chasing the money. It's more as I grew older, I realized when I stopped chasing the money, it's more something else happens,
Right.
Sort of like the business kind of comes to you and you have more fun with it. So that's the good thing is when I first started class, I wasn't the one that really liked going to school a lot. But when I started real estate class, I couldn't wait to go back more. I still try to learn as much as I try to absorb. So I feel like this is what I like to do.
Nice.
And whatever I could share with others to help them, why not,
Yes, indeed. Okay, got a few questions for you.
Sure.
Because I know this is relatable to many, including myself. And getting on the property ladder can be very difficult for some. And it's not about managing the mortgage. It's about initially getting on there in the first place. So like deposits, that's a lot of money to gather together or save. The best way to go about getting a mortgage your credit, whether it's good or bad, what are the loopholes. So for a first-time buyer, right, people that are on the ladder already, they probably have more knowledge that what we're going to, you know, that what the beginners want to know. So
Yes.
What's your best advice as far as going for your first mortgage if you have a deposit?
If you have a deposit,
Yeah.
let's say you're sitting on some cash, and okay, so I'll break it down both for the people that don't and do.
Yeah.
So let's say you do have a deposit, and you want to go about, property.
Right.
First thing to do is sit down with a mortgage. Well, first sit down with a realtor. Sit down with a real estate professional and find out what are your goals. Is this property going to be something that you want to live in long term? Is it going to be a short term investment to make money? Do you want to rent it out? Do you want to flip it? So speak with the realtor. What's the market conditions in that area at the moment? The realtor will probably tell you to speak to a lender or a mortgage broker to get yourself pre-approved. In today's market, you want to know what, as far as the financing part, how much can you afford? What's the down payment? What are all the financials behind it before making that step forward? And then this way, when you do want to go shopping for that house, you already know how much you qualify for. You're comfortable with the payments. You're not overreaching, and you're making a more solid decision based on what you qualify for.
Right.
So that would be the first step. You're going to need a few different people on your team to make this happen. You're going to need the realtor, the lender. Once you like the property, then you're going to probably get an inspection on the property, so you're going to need a home inspector. There's going to be, depending on the state and where people are watching, you may need an attorney to represent you in the transaction. You may need a title company to make sure the title is clear when you purchase the property. But yeah, the first thing is find out what are your financing options, and move forward that way.
Okay. Now,
Now,
go ahead. Second part.
Now, the person that doesn't have cash, okay, that person is ready because he has the down payment. The person that doesn't have cash, sometimes there's options whether you want to get a co-signer. Naturally, it's always best to do it on your own. It's easier, to make movements if you have to when it's on your own. But let's say if you can work something out with a business partner or something like that, then you could pull your buying power and maybe your down payment money. There are certain government programs. I would also check with your state, with your county, sometimes where you work. If you're in the medical field, if you're a veteran, you have different advantages to see if you can get some government grants. Now, there's a ton of them, and your realtor will not know all of them. He may know some, she may know some, but the more you find and the more you search, they are out there. And then that could sometimes help you with the upfront cost. So you don't need to come up with all the down payment that you need. There will be some stipulations. Sometimes you have to live in a property a certain amount of years, things like that, but they are out there. The best thing sometimes is friends and family. Ask for a loan. Some people may not want to hear this. Get a second, third job. You want to make it happen? 3 jobs in 1 year, a lot of stuff can happen. Tighten up on the budgeting. If you're comfortable in a 3-bedroom, if you have to go live in a 2-bedroom to save some money to come up with the down payment, there's different strategies you can make to build up. But eventually, if you keep your eye on the long-term goal of purchasing the house, the first thing I would say too is the belief. If everyone believes they could do it, they will achieve it. They will get the property. It's not far reach for anyone. If everyone believes in themselves, it's possible.
That's very important. Got to believe in yourself. A lot of people get discouraged because they don't have to, like you said, no deposit. So it looks far-fetched. Like it,
Yes.
it looks, it's not foreseeable. But
Yes.
like you said, if you got to get 2, 3 jobs, ask for family and friends to get a loan if you're in that position. But for the people that's watching, don't lose courage and don't lose sight, because it can be done.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll tell you a quick story of how I got my license in Florida. First time I took, it's a very hard license. I went, I took the test. You know, it was a hard test. I failed. You know, I could have given up right there.
Right.
For some reason, I didn't, and I tried it the second time. Second time, I'm in Florida, 95-degree weather. I'm going to take the test. I'm running right on time. My car breaks down. I'm like a mile and a half away. Um, I'm in a tie, you know, more dressed up than this. I'm in a tie suit and everything because I'm brand new. So, you know, I'm trying to, you know, look the part or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm running now, 95-degree weather to make it to the test to hopefully I pass. You know, I can't, you know, I'm determined in that part. I get there, I'm like, God, I have to pass this because I went through all this. There's no way I'm not going to pass. I
Right.
failed again. Still didn't do it. Had to come the third time. This time I wasn't happy. I knew I was going to make it because then the mindset was read with the book, sleep with the book, eat with the book. Everything I did with the book to make sure I passed. And on the third one, I passed. But that's where the point of this is the belief system. If I stop believing in myself that second time or say, well, all this happened, it wasn't meant to be. If you believe in yourself, anything could be achievable. And then the want will come. And, you know, I've learned recently, you can only be motivated for so long. But if you start putting yourself with the discipline, it takes over the motivation, and then you'll achieve whatever you want. Just putting the right discipline and then finding out why you want to do whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah. Speaking of persistence, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you go for a mortgage and you get turned down, does that affect your chances of the future applications?
If you're going to go for a mortgage, I would say speak within that time period, within, let's say, that 1 week, speak to more than one. The mortgage, because they won't, when the credit bureaus look at your credit report and they see you shopping for loans, it's going to look like one instance. Now, the part that it'll affect negatively is if you're shopping for a mortgage, shopping for a credit card, different types of credit pulls. That's what's going to, shopping for a car at the same time, that will give you a negative effect. Not every bank has the same program for every person. So bank A might be different than bank B and bank C. So that's why it's good to look around and see what programs this bank may have and the different guidelines.
Right.
Certain may have a credit score issue, or not an issue, but a credit score guideline or a income guideline. A lot of the programs where they can help you, it's also depending on where you live and there's income limits and things like that. But that's why sitting with the mortgage professional, and maybe more than one, and at the end of the interview, and see whichever one makes the most sense for you to move forward.
Okay, speaking of that too, your income to deposit ratio, how does that work? So let's say you make average income, but you're willing to put down a decent amount, right? So as opposed to the other way around. So let's say you got an average income, but you're putting down the average amount.
Okay.
How does that affect you getting a mortgage? You know what I'm saying? Like,
so it all goes down to the debt to income ratio. What your income is, and then the bank is going to look at what your debts are. So if you're financing a lot of cars, or if you have cars, and it doesn't justify the size of the mortgage you're going to get, then the bank is going to say, okay, either give us more money down, because on paper it doesn't show that your income is going to be enough to pay a mortgage and the cars. That's where you would either need a cosigner or you would need to make more income. Um, but that would have to do with the debt to income ratio.
Right.
And if you want to, for a future, I could always sit you down with a lender person to do like this type of live, because they're all about numbers. They
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
and they could definitely give you different programs and tips on that type of stuff.
Right. Got you. Got you. Okay. So now you spoke on credit. You touched on credit. As far as credit
Credit is
goes,
big too. Credit is
yeah,
big
very
too.
big.
It's like your weight. It's very easy to just mess it up, and it's hard to maintain.
Mm,
But if you're very disciplined, you learn how to play with the credit and use the credit the right way. It could definitely open up your uh, cash flow, because if you start using the bank's money and you want to keep the cash, and then you can use that cash to purchase other properties or whatever it is you want to do with the cash, maybe start a business.
yeah.
Um, but credit is always important. I mean, if that's something, I would definitely look into a credit specialist in the area,
Right.
word of mouth, but that's something recommendable.
Okay. Okay. Now, um, credit. Right. Sticking on credit. If someone has bad credit and they get a cosigner, because I hear these questions all the time, and I said I'm going to bring it to you. If they have bad credit, but they're trying to fix it up, but they want to go for a mortgage while they're fixing it up, and they have a cosigner, is that possible?
Okay, so they have bad credit and they
Bad
want
credit,
to purchase a house
they
and they
want to
want to
purchase.
bring in a cosigner.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's possible. I mean,
yeah.
the cosigner,
What's
you
the
know,
cosigner responsible for
so
on
that's where
that
the cosigner is going to be responsible for that loan.
that loan?
Um,
Yeah,
the cosigner may be a little weary because if he has bad credit to begin with, everyone is human. You mess up. You have to find out what was the issue. Maybe the
yeah.
issue is fixed now. Maybe the income wasn't there before, but now the income is there, and now he just maybe needs to fix up the credit. The
Right.
cosigner is now going to go into a sort of like an agreement with this person that this new loan is going to be paid on time. So
Right.
if the new loan now goes in default or doesn't pay on time, that cosigner, if they had good credit or better credit, now they could be affected.
Mm,
Um, so the cosigner can help. Um, I see it a lot where sometimes I'm seeing kids and their parents buying property together.
mm-hmm.
Um, they structure it where the ownership is more towards the parents so the kid could buy a property in the future. But
Right.
the only way, once you do cosign, the most important thing to know is to get out of that loan, you would have to refinance that loan to remove that cosigner. And by
Mm,
removing the cosigner, now that first person needs to show enough income to be able to support that loan by themselves in the future when they want to remove the cosigner.
got you. Got you.
So,
Got
so,
you.
so there has to be a plan in place. If you're the cosigner, there has to be a plan in place of when you want to be removed. Because if not, unless the cosigner is willing to stay there forever.
Mm,
The thing that would
mm-hmm.
affect that is if the cosigner now wants to go move on and purchase other property, this debt will still show like it's still on the credit report as a debt that they owe until it's
Right.
fully
Right.
paid.
Right. Okay. 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 Now, for the homeowners, with what's the pros and cons with equity or
Okay.
pulling out and refinancing and so on and so forth?
So
Let's
people that
okay.
have a
Hold on
lot
one
of
sec.
equity in their home, let's say.
Before you answer that, yeah. Let's say I was a homeowner and I wanted to take out equity to purchase another property. What's the pros and cons with that?
Okay. Really, it's motivation.
Mm,
Why? First, it's the why. Why do you want to Why would you want to do that? Are you trying to make more time for yourself? Are you trying to build generational wealth for your family? Are you trying to, versus figuring out what that's for? What's the money? Are you building a business? I mean, if it's to purchase other property, uh, it's not a bad idea. And then depending on what you're purchasing, if you're going to purchase like a multifamily where, you're in an area where the rentals are good, you can rent it. Right now, the money when it sits in the house is just sitting, and it's really not worth anything. The house is worth up and down until you pull out that cash.
Right.
So if it's at a high point, if the house is at a really high value, yeah, it would be a good idea to put some of that cash if you're going to buy another property to make money, because now your value of the house is high,
Right.
And even if that house drops after you pull out, before you pull out the cash, you still have that cash working on other property. Whereas if you didn't pull it out before and then the value drops, now you just have less cash that you can still there. You can still pull it out, but now you have less cash to pull out.
Right.
The advantage today of pulling out, which would has the market as far as in New York and other states in a frenzy, is that the interest rates are very low. So
Right.
the interest rates haven't been this low. So it's cheap money, I mean, to borrow right now if you're going to borrow money. So that would be like the pro. The con is you pull out something that is sitting, let's say, in your home safe, and you put it into a bad investment, let's say. But again, sometimes you have to, if you're failing forward, maybe that's not bad,
Right.
But if you're putting it into an investment vehicle, if you're looking to maybe fix your home up to bring up the value, add square footage to your home, make a dormer or something like that, those wouldn't be bad, because at the end of the day, you're still bringing up the value of your property.
So over here, they call it HMO, which is multiple occupancy. So what they do is buy a house and rent out each room.
Okay.
Right. So as far as that goes, is that a good investment?
Any investment, I would say, is if you're putting in your money and you're getting a positive cash flow out of it.
Yeah.
So let's say you buy a house here, a two-family house, and your mortgage is $300,000. And your mortgage is $300,000, and your payment, well, not your mortgage. Let's say your monthly payment is $3,000 a month,
Right.
but you're renting it for $5,000 a month, minus
Right.
your costs and everything. Maybe you're making $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
Times that by 12, you're generating positive cash flow. You always have to look at worst case scenario. If maybe the units aren't rented for a month or two, you put that into the equation, and then, then you see if that's going to be a good idea or not.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you're buying something and somebody else, by renting, is paying the mortgage, long term, even with ups and downs, traditionally property values go up. So you're gonna, generate on the appreciation of the property, on the value of the property going up. I don't know if over there you may have some type of tax benefits by
Reliefs.
doing
Yeah, they
that.
got a few reliefs. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another benefit. And if you are purchasing to, buying to hold long term and rent, that's how you build generational, wealth, where eventually it will be paid off. And if you have multiple like that, you just pay your taxes and that's it. And you have a steady income, passive income coming in.
Okay, I got a personal question for myself.
Sure.
Next year, my plan is, and this is where I need some insight and knowledge. Next year, I plan on purchasing a studio apartment, right? Because in London, you can rent out a studio for a decent amount, and your cash flow won't be great, but it'll be decent.
Okay.
So my personal plan is to purchase a studio apartment somewhere in London, rent it out to a professional, and just to get on the property ladder. But I don't know if I should. When can you, okay, if I have it for a while, am I able to pull out of that for a deposit on something else? Like, let's say a house for my personal living, if you know what I mean. Is that possible, or is it? Yeah, go ahead.
I could definitely connect you with, like I said, I was with Keller Williams, so I could connect you with somebody from Keller Williams there that can guide you in the right path. Because you may have some benefits being a first time. Do you own a home now, or this will be your first one?
Yeah,
okay,
first.
So you may have some benefits for being a first time home buyer there. That they would know more of the programs and things.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, let's say you're here. Yeah, you can. I mean, and then, so this is like what I tell a lot of the younger generation, like, let's say 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Because I wish something like this was taught in school, like when we were growing up. Maybe they did. I wasn't paying attention, to be honest.
It wasn't like this. Trust me.
So
you know that.
What I tell them is, like, even let's say you and your friends as young kids, right? Get together, you all have jobs or you start a job. Maybe go try to buy a house together. With the four of you, if you're each making $20,000 a year, 4 friends, you're making $80,000 now.
Right.
They could get, let's say, a high ranch. You're all gonna live in dorms wherever anyway, but if you could live, let's say, downstairs, and rent the top and have the top pay your mortgage. Now you live for free. You're not paying to live. Because when a young person starting up, if they're paying rent, now that's an expense. But if they can somehow invest in that asset and then rent the top of it and have, that paid for, and then you don't have to worry about living. Now the income that they make goes for saving, goes for a dream that they're doing. And if they get a real good deal, that house that house will also maybe pay for a little bit of the car, a little bit of insurance. And then they keep going. Let's say that goes good. Then they buy another one because now their income is free. They don't have income because the mortgage is being paid by the rental. They do that again, and they can keep doing that over and over again with the right guidance, a lot of discipline. There will be some mess ups. Nothing's ever perfect, but it's like falling forward. Those would be good mistakes to have as young kids, and then that's how you would live free too. If you could buy something where the rental is paying for that, you live for free, and then you don't have to pay anything. Then eventually you rent that spot that you were living in, you rent that piece too, and then you could use those 2 incomes. That'll help you pay for the next property that you're going to purchase.
Yes. That's my goal anyway. I'm gonna get on to.
Keep saying you're gonna reach it. I'm gonna plug you in with somebody over there that can help you.
Of course. I want to get into that now because it leads on to what I'm about to ask you. What's the pros and cons with buying and flipping and selling again? So you buy a derelict, flip it to a good standard, sell it on. Keep doing that. What's the pros and cons with that?
So as an investor, let's say, if you're an investor or if you're
or you just want to do that for profitable reasons.
Okay. I mean, the pros is it's good money. If you have fun with it, I think that's even better. If you have like a creative side and you like to make kitchens a certain way, or if you want to play with houses, like, that's a pro part of it. That's faster money. Because you're buying something at a distress level. You're doing the renovations. I would say one of the most important pieces of that puzzle is the contractors, having good contractors on your side that are going to do everything in a timely fashion, and that are going to be, detail orientated, because then if the property is not remodeled at a certain standard, that could cost you on the return when you try to put it for sale. And
Right.
you know, if they see people cut corners, then the offer of the house is not going to be what you thought it was going to be.
Right.
So having the right contractors helps. A real estate, again, professional that can help you, you know, give you an idea of when you purchase what the resale value is, how fast the properties are sitting on the market, the exposure to the market. Um, you know, the pros is you can make good money doing it right. The cons is, you know, sometimes in today's market, for example, in New York, there aren't any evictions. So some of these properties are being bought with tenants. That is being a headache in its own.
What do you mean there's no
Uh,
evictions? Is that the law
right now it is in New
for the
York
pandemic?
for the pandemic, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah,
right
yeah.
now it's up
Okay.
until about June. Residential and commercial, you can't evict anyone.
Yeah,
So
that's
some of
like
the
over here
properties,
too. Mm.
oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of that, you know, it has a shortage of houses because some people are using. Um, there's a shortage of houses because some people just, you know, either can't find somewhere to live, um, and you know, it's like on a standstill. So,
Right.
and to buy a property like that, that could be a con because that could turn into something, you know, more costly.
Right.
Um, the other con would be, you know, when you purchase a property, you never, I mean, you do send for an inspection, but if something comes along the way that could deter how fast you sell the house, maybe a shift in the market, interest rates going up could also affect affordability.
Mm.
So, you know, there are your headaches to it.
Right.
And again, it's having the right players on your team to make the transaction smooth.
Mm. 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 Okay. Advice for landlords. I know there's a lot of people that have properties rented out and they're enjoying the cash flow, but break down, because I know a lot of irresponsible well, I don't know personally, but there's some irresponsible landlords that don't put aside maintenance money, repair money, stuff like that. What's your best advice for those people? Because they're enjoying the income, but they're not thinking about if that breaks down, if the boiler breaks down, if this, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if they're putting that money aside for
Yeah.
those purposes.
So for the landlord, I would say that's key. You got to have some type of reserves in place, because then that could turn into a bigger headache.
Mm.
I would say as a landlord, the main goal is, yeah, you want to make money, but you want to keep your tenants happy. You know, the happier your tenants are, the longer they're going to stay. They're going to pay you on time. They're going to take care of your property because at the end of the day, this is your investment. You know,
Right.
um, sometimes as a landlord, pay for the landscaping. Um, you know, go in every so often, maybe do like a quarterly checkup. Um, Coming from a contribution, you know, good level, checking
Mm-hmm.
in on the tenant. Hey, is the water good? Is your water pressure good? How's the lights? Let me change your lights if they need changing.
Yeah.
Um, you know, making sure that you value your prized possession, which is your asset. Because as a landlord, if you don't take care of your own asset, what makes you think somebody else is going to want to take care of it?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
so you know, and in the long run, yeah, it may cost the landlord some money, um, but it's going to be less issues with maybe having to evict somebody, the turnaround in tenants. You keep a happy tenant for 10, 20 years. I mean, you know,
Saved a whole lot of
that's
money.
golden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
headache and everything, and and
Right.
and improve the property. You know, go with, you know, if you have a dishwasher, you know, don't expect that to go for 15 years. You know, in the
Mm-hmm.
long run, invest in that, you know, property that you have. It'll be probably more energy efficient. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then that would be the other thing is try to make the house as energy efficient as possible, because then that'll save also on some costs.
Yes, that's key. That's key. That's key.
Yeah.
Very, very, very informative. Very knowledgeable. So where do you stand now as far as a realtor?
So right now, I just started Keller Williams a little over a year ago. I'm in New York. I'm building a team. I have a team called a legacy team, and I'm just basically building like a referral infrastructure around the country and around the world. Sort of like with me and you talked about it.
Yeah.
We're in England, the company, not me, but the company's in
Yeah.
England.
Yeah.
So, if I could help somebody, whoever wanted to maybe get into real estate in England, I could plug them in with, whoever's over there. Same thing around the States or anywhere else.
Yeah.
And then those would be the people that I would want to work with, maybe sending referrals in and out, learning, because I always like learning. I mean, I'd love to do this where you're at and earn euros instead of dollars, because when I come here, I might make more money with the, and grab some ideas from over there, I know the architecture and everything is different. But that's pretty much where I'm at. It's just recruiting a little bit people around that want to get into this. I would like to give back to the community as far as knowledge. And our company does a lot with it's called KW Cares, where, we give back to the community. We're doing like a food drive now for Easter, that helps out in Huntington. And I would like to just help others, like mentor others, especially like youth, you know what I mean? That if they have, you know, you want to help people, you like to hustle something, what better than property,
Right.
But
So
that's the goal.
So for the people that want to get into real estate, young, old, or whatever, but they have to let them know that it's not, you don't have to dive in full time.
No. Yeah.
You can do it as a side, you can do it as a side hustle and do it at your, at your leisure.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
I'll tell you how I started. When I moved from New York to Florida, I was in the rent-a-car business at the airport. And it's a perfect business to start as a side hustle, because really the people that you do business with are the people that are going to know you, or the people that you meet.
Right.
When I was in the rent-a-car business, I did it on the side. People came in and flew down, and I said, "What brings you to Florida?" "I'm looking for a house." "Oh, really? Great. Here's my card." And that's how it started. I would say if you're a bartender, it's a great, maybe, real estate is a good side hustle, because you're always meeting any type of business where you're meeting a lot of people, and you have a network of just people that you know. Real estate could be a good side hustle. And I look at it like this: one, if you believe in yourself, it's very possible. That's the key to everything. Believing in yourself. Don't expect to get rich right away, because it's the type of business where you're planting seeds all the time. And one day, you get a phone call that says, "Hey, I want to buy a house." And then that day you can kind of say, "Okay, all these seeds kind of worked out." But I would just check with the local companies, find out about licensing. Some countries, actually, you don't even have to be licensed. But it would be start that. And then I would say like this: if in the worst case scenario, by taking the class and everything, you become more knowledgeable in purchasing your own property down the road. So it's a no loss. To me, you don't really lose. You're just going to become more knowledgeable in property if you don't do anything with it.
That's true. I might look into that.
Hey,
I might look into that myself.
You're gonna be my UK connect.
Tell you, I might look into that. What's okay? State both locations where people can contact and get into the real estate business, licensing or whatever. What is it, Keller Williams?
I'm with Keller Williams. Yeah, I'm with Keller Williams.
And what's the one in England?
The one in England is I think it's KWUK. But if you
Okay.
just Google Keller Williams, wherever you are,
Yeah.
it'll be right near there. I could
Okay.
also, I'll try to find one that's close to you. But yeah, I mean, you just Google it and it'll pop up.
Okay. And what's the
My team,
yeah, okay.
my team is a legacy team. So if you just Instagram a legacy team, I
Yeah.
think through there, there's a link on that'll take you to my website, and actually you can search properties like anywhere, and I think it'll also give you a link to local offices
Oh,
and things like that.
okay, okay. Last question, because I don't want to take up your day. What's the process? What's the process of getting into being a realtor?
The process basically is checking with your local. I would call like a real estate school.
Yeah.
Find out if there's a real estate school. Find out what are your, if you have to get a license, what are the conditions or what are the requirements to get licensed there. After that, you go get the license if needed. Then I would say interview with multiple companies. I would say go with, try like a big company like Keller Williams. Try maybe a boutique company like a maybe mom and pop type of environment. Um, you know, what's good and do what's good for you. I mean, what's good for one person may not fit what the goals and um, ambitions of the next person could be.
Right.
But I would definitely interview more than one, find out whichever one is the best one for you, and start that way.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And
Okay.
just have a general, like I would say, want to help people. The money will come, but if you do that, and you could have a lot of fun with it. I mean, you meet a lot of different people.
Right.
Um, you network with a lot of different people. You're all doing great things, and you're putting families in homes. I mean,
That's the goal. That's the goal.
yeah, it's a
That's the
beautiful
goal.
thing.
Yeah, man. This was. I wanna first of all thank you for your time. Thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for the information. I know you was very skeptic on coming on because of the shyness and all that. I told you
Yeah,
it
man.
wasn't that hard. It wasn't that
Nah,
hard.
it wasn't.
See,
Nah, it
see.
wasn't that hard. I want to
So now
thank you,
you
man. You helped with that.
you broke the seal. Now you could do thousands more.
Yeah. Hopefully we go
Feel
viral, right?
yeah. You feel comfortable, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't. What did I tell you?
Nah, yeah, it was easy. Yeah, and if you want to keep doing it, like I said, I'm well connected with a lot of people. I mean,
Yeah.
for
Oh,
informational, I'll
definitely.
bring whoever you wanna. As far as like helping people develop and learn stuff,
Yeah.
I'm with it, man. I'm definitely with it.
Yeah. I'm gonna need creditors. I'm gonna need lenders. I'm gonna need all those
I get
people
you.
to give us different insights. You know what I mean?
Attorneys I can help you
Attorney.
with.
Yeah. 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 We're gonna
And
do
then
it.
not even that. Once you get the real estate, once you have the properties, then there's different strategies on protecting your investments, and with setting up like trusts and things like that. Because now that you have your properties, now you want to put them in maybe not just your name, you want to put them in company names and things like that to protect
Yeah.
your assets. And God forbid something happens that somebody's coming at you, it's
Yeah.
protected in a different way. But I could definitely
Right.
um, bring those type of people around. And again, I want to say thank you again for this. I appreciate it.
Man, you're welcome, man. I thank you. One last question that just popped in my head.
All right.
Do they have the inheritance tax over there?
Inheritance tax. I could look into it. What is that?
Because what they have over here is if you leave something behind for your children, the government is allowed to tax it. I don't think that's right. Because if I build a portfolio of property and I leave it behind for my wife and kids, that should be exempt from tax, shouldn't it?
That's a good question, but I could get you a CPA that would probably that's a good CPA would help with that. Maybe you know.
I know the laws are different because I'm in the UK, you're over there, so I know the laws are different. But
Yeah,
I wanted to know how it was over there too. But yeah,
no, I'm not too
we'll talk
familiar
about
with that. But anything to try to, that's why I say the CPA. Like I have a CPA do my taxes because they know that part and they could help you. The professional in that part could definitely help you with that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not there yet. I just wanted to know.
Okay.
But I'm gonna get there.
You're gonna be there. You're gonna be there.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there.
You're definitely gonna be there.
But yeah, man, thank you for your time, Sid. Nice
All
speaking
right,
with
Sean,
you.
thank you.
We're gonna do this again. We'll do this again.
All right. One
I
day
know
we're gonna
there's
do it
more.
live. You're gonna show me around over there.
Definitely.
I have a good excuse now to fly over there.
Definitely. Anytime.
All right,
Anytime,
bro.
man.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you
All
very
right, man.
much.
Take
All
care.
right, you too.
Later.
All right. Bye-bye.